Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. It is Kevin and myself here with another wonderful, a little bit smoky, but lots of great wine in the shop. So, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, and an old favorite back in the house. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time we had Share in the shop, which is unfortunate because the Share wines have a lot of fans around here, and they are well worth seeking out if you're a lover of American wine, especially American Zinfandel.
Not just Zinfandel, Zinfandoodle.
Zinfandoodle always throws people, right? That little name. Do you know where that all comes from?
Well, I heard that he kind of got into winemaking in his mid to late teens, maybe a little bit early, but that's okay.
Well, before he was 21 anyway, yeah.
But sampling winemaking at home, and so his uncle used to make fun of him for his Zinfandel efforts and nicknamed it the Zinfandel.
That's it. That's the story.
That's the story.
So basically, Fred's been around wine his whole life. His third generation Italian family, so they grew up in Sonoma, and it's just sort of the tradition in Sonoma, right? So when people came over, 100, 120 years ago, they brought with them all their cuttings from Italy. They planted their grapes, and a lot of the winemaking in Sonoma sort of has those more like modest beginnings, right? So it was a lot of home winemaking. It wasn't the fancy sort of Disneyland kind of operation you see when you go today. It was just a bunch of people, planting some grapes, making some wine, and drinking it. Doing a lot of farming. So, but today when you go to California, you see a much different operation going on. It's very polished. Very fancy, but that's why I like going to see Fred, because Fred is neither polished nor fancy. He looks a little bit like Frank Zappa, the long hair, a little bit of the beard. He likes playing guitar. There's no tasting room at Share. You basically go in and you sit on boxes, whatever you can find, and Fred pours you his wine. But his wine's always super honest, like him. The value in his wines, I think, is spectacular, and I love drinking his wines. They always just really reflect what they are. He doesn't just do Zinfandel. There's a bit of Grenache, a bit of Syrah, a bit of Pinot Noir, but everything I think is really well priced. How much is this one going for?
$36.95. And you know what?
Jumping to get out of there.
He wants to be drank.
Yeah, he fills them to the top. I like that about Fred. I told you he was honest.
Waste no ounces.
Have you had this yet?
I haven't had this one yet, and
exciting.
I've always loved them because he always blends two different vintages together when he's making the Zinfandel too.
Right.
So this one, and if you look up at the top corner, you can see it's got the little 16 and 17 is the vintage that we're coming in at.
Right, which is not very common. So most times a wine is just an expression of a single vintage, but the advantage of blending a couple of vintages together, it gives a winemaker an extra tool, right? So if one vintage is a little light, he can put in a little bit of the heavier wine, or he can kind of work with what he has. He has a little more options as far as what he does. It also allows him to just keep it in stock a little bit more, right? You don't just have that 1 year and it sells out. I can already smell this, mostly because I spilled it all over the place, but it smells pretty good.
It smells like a real wine shop.
Yeah, it's starting to smell like a winery now. I like that.
It smells good.
Yeah, it's got that nice brambly kind of character to it that you expect in Zinfandel, right? That kind of raspberry boysenberry thing. It also kind of smells like sunshine, right? That kind of warm raspberry jam.
I could use some California sunshine.
Oh, it's like the first day in a while. It's not like 200 degrees outside. It's actually a good day for some red wine.
That's awesome. Nobody's going to be upset drinking that.
I really like these wines. I mean, it's easy to like the wines when you know the guy. He's such an easygoing guy. He makes really, really small amounts of wine. So there's never, it's not a big operation. It's really just Fred when you go to see him, and a couple of guys that work in the winery. So it's a great spot. If you're ever in Sonoma, he'd love to see you. It's a really, really fun visit. And again, it's just one of those honest guys. It's been there a long time. That puts out, I think, really just delicious wine every year. It's not one of the really well-known wineries. It's not fancy, but it's a good place to go. Sit on an old couch or a box and taste some wine with like one of the old guard in Sonoma.
And if you're ever in the area here this weekend or up near the university, you can come in and taste it with us.
Yeah, get in on this bottle if there's any still kicking around tomorrow. Which there might not
spill
be.
it all over the
Yeah,
front.
if I get the cork back in it. And I'm wondering what's going on over here. It's a little bit eclectic.
It's a little eclectic.
What have you done this week, Robin?
Well, I was having a hard time thinking what I wanted to feature in our pack, so I thought to myself, what am I going to take home to drink this week?
just like your pick?
It's literally all of my favorites that are coming home with me this week.
Rockin' Party Pack? Is it your birthday this week, Robin?
You know, my 30th birthday was so good, I just keep celebrating it every
Funny.
single year.
I remember your 30th birthday. It's going back.
Oh, not that far.
No, not that far. A little ways.
Just a couple of years.
All right, well then you might as well talk about them since you picked them out. And I'm going to sit here and drink what I managed to get in the glass.
Perfect. There is no birthday that I do not have a little bit of bubbly to
course.
celebrate. I mean, I love my bubbles. I'll use them all the time. But the Rollet just came back, the Cremant de Jura. So this is a little Pinot Noir and Pulsar.
Nice.
Pulsar being another thin skin grape, very similar to Pinot Noir, but it has just sort of this more garnet color when you're making your red wines, and I find it really shows because it has this kind of orangey hue to the wine.
Yeah, that's been like an absolute stalwart wine for us, right? We've had that for decades. I love it. We've been out for a while, so nice to see it back. A nice dry, sparkling rosé. It might be just the thing this weekend.
It's one of my favorites too at its price point, like $32. So
Yeah,
you know,
not
when I
bad.
want something a little more special, but I don't want to like really break the bank, that's the one to go for. So definitely jump on that.
So
and
far,
then
so good.
Sonrisa just came back this week as well. Dominio de Taras, so we're up in the northwest corner of Spain. 100% Gadeo.
Yeah, and you gotta love the label, right? I love the color combos.
Sunshine.
Reminds me of the 70s. It's such a cool wine. And Gadeo's a great variety. Probably most of you haven't had a chance to try. So usually comes from the northern part of Spain, either Galicia or Bierzo. So this is Bierzo. I like it because it's a little more textural, right?
Totally.
Like a lot of those northern cool climate wines are just like lean and crisp. This one has a little bit of richness to it, a little bit of character. Gadeo is like maybe kind of the highest quality grape that goes up there. So you always get a little more complexity in those wines than maybe you're expecting, but that is an absolute knockout.
Totally. It makes me think of like lemon meringue and green apple.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's got this freshness and richness, and then of course that creamy texture from the lees aging. So
Cool.
another favorite for sure.
All right.
Pairs awesome with seafood salads, any kind of summery fare.
You're on a roll. What's next?
Little Spätburgunder, Krieger. We did mention this one a couple weeks back, but I can't
Yeah.
get enough of it still, so I had to throw it back in there.
Pinot Noir from Germany? Is that the thing right now?
That's the thing.
Feels like it's the thing, right?
It's the ongoing thing.
I feel like it's like we're talking about it every week these days. Like, new Pinot Noir from Germany. We're having fun. It's
We
good.
are having fun.
All right.
And then Librandi. I always love the wines from Librandi. So Galliopo,
All right.
little relative to Sangiovese or Sicily's Morello Mascalese.
Did your homework.
I'm doing my homework this week.
I like
Thank
it.
you.
Sure.
Well, it's a favorite. I've
Yeah, there you
researched
go.
it a couple times. Maybe drank one
You
or
know
two
what you're
bottles.
talking about. Go on.
I am going to do a little pizza night at home, so that's what's going to happen with that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love Librandi. We don't often have this guy in stock. It's nice to get like a little step up from the basic Galliopo. So, you know what? No complaints, no arguments from me. I like what you did.
Thanks.
You can have a good birthday. So, happy birthday, Robin.
Thank you.
Nice work on the
Cheers.
pack. And come in this weekend, maybe wish Robin a happy birthday. She'll probably have champagne open in the back. You know, that's usually the way it goes around here. And there's some fun stuff open. So we hope to see you soon.